Good morning, everybody. I am Bart Winkler. Welcome into the Winklerverse. Grant Bilse, Paul Imig. So I'm only going to bring this up because I've brought it up before defiantly. I'm as close as I've ever been to getting a blue check mark on Twitter.
Yep.
Can you talk me out of it, please?
No, I've been trying to talk you into it. Go make your money.
Here's what I don't get. I don't know if I'm going to talk you out of this. Just do it. It's like saying I might start a 401k. It's like, well, the longer you wait, if you're going to do it anyways, just do it now. No one's going to begrudge you, Bart.
But I've been so adamant about one thing.
Not recently. Once upon a time, yeah, but
if you can flip-flop on the Josh Hader trade, you can flip-flop on your Twitter.
You flip-flopped on the Jordan Love pick.
Yeah. There you
go. Got new information. You adjusted.
I just feel like as bad as things on Twitter have gotten with, I was typing up, I wanted to type up, I was looking for Counsell boo the other day because I wanted the video or a picture of him getting booed.
Yeah.
And the third result was boo, I'm scaring you as I counsel you into the sex in the woods. And it's just like,
yeah.
That's like everything I type in a Twitter search takes me to people sexing in the woods.
Sin. The search feature sucks. Like I was trying to look up a tweet from The Score, 670 The Score, your sister station. And I typed 670 and the first 10, that's such an, the reason I bring it up, that's such an easy thing.
By the way, they're not my sister station. They're an affiliate of mine.
Oh, nice. My point is that should easily populate at the top. That's a number. No, there's no name has 670 in it.
Watch me score my 670th piece of butt.
The search feature stinks, but the For You tab, I don't know what it's good. It is good.
The other thing is I've come to the realization that I need to be more of the if you can't beat him, join him kind of guy. And Twitter's not going away.
No. Right.
And I've not Twittered any less.
Yeah.
And it's where I have the most eyes.
Go make your money.
It's not even for the money part. I feel like the exposure part would be good.
But also,
what is that? What does a blue check have to do with exposure?
They boost you up more so people see you. Allegedly.
You should. I mean, this is a very easy decision that you should have committed to a while ago, but you're too stubborn.
What if I didn't talk about it so much? I just don't want to. I feel like if I do this, I am betraying the people that I asked their loyalty, a la Craig Counsell.
You are not Craig Counselling this situation.
I feel like I'm a sellout.
You are Leslie Noping this situation. Leslie Nope taught Leslie Nope. Leslie or Leslie? Did different Leslies disagree?
I hate it. It pisses me off how Ben almost made a point to say Leslie. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
But she taught me why and how flip-flopping is okay in certain situations. And so I think your Jordan Love thing, good flip-flop. Josh Hader trade, good flip-flop. Going to do your blue check mark, a good flip-flop. I think you're all right.
Now, also, if I do this, I will then clip this video. Do I need to announce it? People are going to look at it and be like, what the fuck, Bart?
Career update, personal announcement, colon.
Yep.
I'm thrilled. I'm proud and excited to announce that you got to do that whole thing.
Oh, okay. Great tangent. Because I think that the personal announcement thing, while it does help us learn about what people are up to, there needs to be some sort of I'm going to make a website where you type in your personal announcement and then I'll tell you if it's worth sharing or not. I saw a kid, and God bless them. They're so proud. But a kid was like, personal update. I've accepted the position of cart runner Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Metro Market.
Was there a graphic? Please tell me there was a graphic.
It's him in front of the store. By the way, cart runner, I love that job.
You were a cart runner? I didn't know you were a cart runner.
They're like, Bart, do you want to be a cashier? You can get a You can get 25 more cents an hour.
Ah, it's big.
And dude, what did you have jobs growing up? Like, what'd you make? I made like $6 an hour at places.
Yep, that's about right. Grocery store.
When I was in the service, lifeguard, I think I made $7.58, whatever minimum wage was. It was that plus like 2 nickels for every summer I was there.
When I was a waiter, I made $2.35 an hour, and then the rest were on tips.
My sister's a server now. She makes like $6 an hour. Like she makes
without tips.
Without tips, yeah. And she does obviously the job is in my dorm room. I had a big gallon Ziploc bag just stuffed with cash. Like if police officers were searching our cube in Code Hall, and they're like, "Where's the drug dealer?" They would have looked in my desk and been like, "We got him." And I'm like, "No, it's just from slinging buy one get one burgers on Monday nights at Howie's and bingo." They always made me work bingo, and fuck bingo, that sucked.
Now she works in the age where you get a 15% tip just by going like this with a screen.
I
used to have to earn tips.
I went to order a cookie at one of these cookie places.
Like crumble cookies?
Maybe specifically that, but I'm not saying.
Okay.
Was it or was it one of Tobias Harris's franchisees?
Oh, I don't know what does he run those?
Yeah, he has a whole bunch of them. Yeah.
So my kid, when he graduates a level of swimming, we go get a cookie. And the last time I went, the wait was forever. So I'm like, I'm going to order online. So I ordered a $5 cookie. And then right away it goes, all right, that'll be $8. And I'm like, I know is there a pickup fee or what? And then I see it says tip, and they start at $3. And you have to like
$3
finagle your way to lower, but they like assume the $3.
Who are you tipping? You came to pick it up.
You're the person that makes the cookie.
They're making the cookies anyways. They didn't make it special for you. If not you, someone else would have bought it. Like I'm not even trying to be a dick. Like the cookies are being.
Well, then I went to a beer garden, and I was tipping when they would give me beer. You know, they poured the beer. But then there he wanted cookies too. He got a cookie problem in the house. And so the cookies are just made off the shelf. So I just grab off these cookies. And then he goes, tip. And I'm like, not this time.
Did he literally say tip?
No.
I like the story more thinking that there was an assumption of a tip for handing you this package.
He was like Tim Curry in Home Alone. And I gave him the gum.
Yeah.
I love you. That might be a bit that me and my significant other have.
Was it a beer garden, Bart, or a beer garden?
Yeah, either one.
Okay.
By the way, I'm anti beer places where you pay your own, where they give you the wristband and you pour your own.
Do not like that either. Do not like, you get a card and then you go up to the machine, and then as it's pouring, you're seeing like how much it cost. I don't like that part of it.
No.
If you're gonna give me a $6 beer, just give me a $6 beer. I don't want to watch it go to $6.
I don't also need to pour it. The reason I came somewhere to get a beer is ideally someone else can pour it in a glass and hand it to me. That's normally how it works.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: when you go to Happy Place Hemp, they don't have a tip. You don't have to tip them. Okay. Now, if you want to, feel free, but you don't have to. You get the product that they made, and then you can take it out of the store and enjoy all the edibles and gummies and tinctures and balms and seltzers that you'd like. You can also go to happyplacehemp.com. And how about this? Instead of going to the thing and being like, whoa, here's what I thought I was going to pay, I got to pay more. There's a price. And then you type in the promo code BART and you're paying less. Promo code BART, happyplacehemp.com.
I'm sorry, Bart, I need to do this. So Ryan Glasspiegel just texted me out of nowhere, and it's a screenshot of the Wisconsin dive bars page, and the caption was, "This looks like heaven," and it's Dell's. And I said, dude, are you sending this just because it looks like a good bar? Like it is one of the best bars. He's like, no, it just looked like a cool place. I'm like,
is that your spot?
Oh, it's one of the finest spots. The best spots, perhaps.
All right. Hold on, Paul. Sorry. What is the best like Dell's experience you could have? Like, what is the best time, day?
Well, there are a bunch of great ones. I love Saturday morning at it's winter, but it's a sunny winter day. Better if it's Christmas time because then the garland's hanging around. There's a movie on TV. Everyone's very awake. We're talking with the bartenders. So noon on a Saturday would be pretty great. Otherwise, just Thursday at 7 p.m., summer night, the doors propped open. Oh.
The best way to experience Dell's, you are very close. It's a Saturday, maybe start at 11 or noon. You post up there with multiple friends that you have a spot at the bar. You play the dice, you do the tip train, and then maybe one of you can leave to get food or another can try, but you guys have this spot from 12 to 6:30. Then you leave, enjoy the rest of lacrosse, and come back at 12:30. That is such a day. Holy moly.
Give
me one of those days more in my life.
The starting there until you're rearing to go, and then everyone starts getting ideas of grandeur. We should go here. It'll be fun. It won't be. You get there, you have a couple, realize, what have we done? You go back. We're back. You reconnect with the bartenders, and then you sit there until the lights come on. I agree.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry, Paul.
Maybe someday.
I'm sure someone enjoyed that.
I'll just downplays our actual heaven. I like our actual.
This is the most important thing that I've ever talked or thought about in my entire life.
Yeah. Well, hit me with your best shot, Paul Benatar.
Oh, well done. Okay. NBA or MLB?
I think, is it Brewers?
Kinda.
Sure.
Monday, Memorial Day. Between the booing of Craig Counsell, the Brewers winning in the fashion they did, and the Angel Hernandez news, Monday was the best day in the history of baseball. Monday was the best day of your baseball fandom in the past long time. Or mm-mm.
Well, what was a better day then?
I don't know. Mine is. I mean, Angel Hernandez has been.
Your thing about Angel Hernandez is unbelievable and
deserved.
It's a bit much, Paul.
No,
it's a little odd.
No,
it's borderline obsessive.
I'm basically putting together a Bartometer segment for you.
I appreciate that very much. Trust me, I do. And
but as I was going through some of the highlights of Angel Hernandez or lowlights,
play that one back on Thursday. That was good.
What is so shocking to me is not just the bad call. It is the then subsequent actions after his bad calls.
Defiance.
Where he's almost I don't even know. It's not shocked or confused. It's just it's he makes the call, right?
Yep.
And then as the person turns to him, somebody Freaky Fridays with him, and there's a new person in this body, and all they know is they have to keep it up. They have to keep up the routine.
Yeah.
And because they're confused, but also determined. And it's how do you even when there's replay, I mean, these home runs or and it's it's home runs, it's first base, it's third, second, home, strike zone, no matter where you can screw up.
Check swings when at first or third, it's everywhere.
So, I mean, that part for you, for sure. In terms of the 2018 run that I got to experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that, outside of a World Series that I can replicate that. Yeah. I think for me, my top baseball days ever was when the Brewers got in the playoffs for the first time in my life, when they beat the Cubs, 3-1 off a Braun homer. And then you watch the Mets game after. So that was 2008.
2008, yeah.
Then going to a playoff game that year where they beat the Phillies, even though they lost in 4, they still won a game at home. That day that I was there in the outfield, the 2018 days, but just yesterday or Monday, and that's not we're taping that I did.
Right. Yeah.
We don't do that as much anymore.
No. All right, pretend that it's.
Uh, um, it was just and Grant would agree, like the way that the game happened, and we almost got that again on Tuesday with like a no hitter, and then Craig takes a guy out. We were almost getting like Craig's greatest hits, but then they fucking score a shitload of runs.
It was almost going to be. I almost had my show for today written. It was almost going to be, well, Monday, that's as good as it gets. I thought, how could you write a better script? And then I watched Tuesday's game, and that would have been even better had the Brewers, pulled it off. And goddamn, if Willy Adames hadn't got called out at second, that shit. I don't mean to be the anti-technology, anti-review guy, but for how much technology and review we've worked into the game, there's a lot of moments where it's like, well, we know what the call is, but we know they're going to call it the other thing. There's like one or two of those, not one or two, but like every other night, there's a play like that where it's like, well, we all know he's safe, but the call's going to be out. Like, fuck, I hate that.
But I don't want to detour too much, but that happened. Was that game 3 of Timberwolves? Who are they playing right now? Timberwolves in Dallas, where the call went out of bounds because it did go off the guy, but they're not able to review the fact that it was actually a huge slap across the guy's wrist, which led the ball going out, but they couldn't review the fact that it was a foul. They could only review who it went off of. It's like some of the twists that they've put into some of the review rules in various sports is like, I thought we were just trying to get it right. What happened to that?
No, it's.
But anyway,
if it was about getting it right, Paul, we wouldn't recognize the game anymore, and you'd be happy because
be thrilled.
You're not an enjoy the ride guy. You want to just show me the points, show me the play, show me the result, get to the result.
No, that's not true.
You would prefer we simulate all these games because then they would be pure. That's what you want.
No, I don't. I actually am very much an enjoy the ride guy. If there aren't unnecessary variables changing, and I call them unnecessary, human error be damned.
Humans, they're pesky, aren't they?
But also the problem isn't just the human getting the call right or wrong. It's that then humans tried to enact replay rules, which are dumb, right? So then a human said, you know what, you can review it. And if it goes out of bounds, even though he was fouled, because humans are dumb. So it's like the way that then you have to have the replay official go to the table knowing the guy got hacked across the arm, but it did go off of him. But I need to stand there as the ref and look like a dumbass by saying, okay, Dallas ball, because it went off of Minnesota. It's like, but it's because he was fouled, but you can't say that because a human who put these rules in place has told you that the rules is this. Anyway.
You're going to submit to the robot overlord so quickly.
I mean, I would open the front door.
I feel like you might be one now.
No.
Does the I in AI stand for Imig? Artificial Imig.
Yep, it does. How'd you know? Grant, Monday, just a fantastic day for Major League Baseball, for your enjoyment of Major League Baseball. Take that in whatever direction that you would like.
Could you hear that? I forgot to turn my microphone back on.
I'm glad that you.
And the Angel Hernandez thing. Yeah, thanks, Tim. Like the Angel Hernandez thing was a nice footnote. Like, yeah, God, but
what a
man, that Brewers win. It's like the universe, and I'm someone who believes in sports gods. Like, I think there is some
karma,
natural thing where it's like every fan base gets their moment. Some get more, and like Minnesota sports fans would be like, well, when is our moment? I guess, I don't know. The Twins won a World Series in the 90s. Like, I do think there's some governing force. And I think all weekend long, I was thinking Monday night, it's all I could think about. It's like, we deserve this, right? Like the universe, the sports gods, they're going to let us have this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think they did. And the game like played out in the perfect way. And it was awesome.
And then what it did to Cubs fans.
And what it did to me. I think it did things to me too. that game, just clearing that game on the schedule, going through that. Yes, the Brewers won, which is awesome. I came out the other side. You're familiar with the idea of post-nut clarity.
Yes.
It's like that, but for sports. Like now that we're through that, like I think I can just relax. I'm a little bit more reasonable about Counsell. I still don't like him. Still sucks. still really wrong what he did, and fans should still boo him, and they will. Like Ryan Braun was booed every time at Wrigley. Like Danny Parkins was like, it will reduce to nothing. No, it won't.
Well, I don't like that my guy Parkins is like, oh, the Cubs will win more games. Like, you're resorting to that already?
And based on what? What is that based on? The Cubs fans, they have this in their mind.
They should win more games. That's why Counsell went there.
Well, I mean, I still don't think so. Cubs fans have it in their mind where it's like, we are the superior organization. We're better. We're smarter. We win more. Where has that ever, what has that played out? Like, yeah, they had their run in 2016, but the Brewers had their own run. It didn't culminate in a championship, but big picture, these franchises are like the same.
I'm going to rank the things that I dislike about Counsell.
Okay.
The top 3 things why I'm still upset about Counsell.
Shakeaways. Your Counsell shakeaways.
Oh, you want some shakeaways?
I do.
All right. The top 3, here are the Bart Winkler shakeaways. Here are the reasons why. I'm starting like that because I'm going to clip this. Here are the reasons. Damn. Here are the top 3 reasons I'm the most upset at Craig Counsell still right now. Number 3, the fact that he left in the first place to the Cubs. That's still a very big reason. He went to the rival. He had a lot of other places he could have gone. He chose the Cubs. Number 2, the more that he talks about the process that led him to leaving, the more it makes us realize he was not committed to this team for the last 2 years. He was sandbagging his last 2 years and not fully in it. He may be born a Brewer, but he's certainly going to die a traitor. And number 1 is that this guy is so clearly trying to mask the pain through trying to belittle our emotions. He is gaslighting us. He is saying that he is laughing. When you can see it in his eyes, the city that he called home. But then as I say that, this MFer did go to Notre Dame, so we should have known the whole time that he was a scum. Those are my shakeaways.
I mean, where was he supposed to go to school? UW Milwaukee? He could have, I suppose.
Notre Dame. Where
Sure.
Pat Murphy went too. So
I mean, it's the Whitefish Bay of
take back the Notre Dame.
It's the Whitefish Bay of colleges. And for love of Pat Murphy, yeah, we won't hate on Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's like there's certain people that love Chicago so much but won't. So they're like, I'm gonna live in Whitefish Bay and then go to Notre Dame, or I'm gonna live in Hoffman Estates and then go to Marquette. Like you want to be Chicago, be Chicago. Like me, I live in Milwaukee.
Be Chicago.
I live in Milwaukee.
Shorewood.
I live walkable from the border.
The border of Milwaukee. Yeah.
That's true, I suppose. I don't know.
Grant, should we attack you about your backing down of Counsell after yesterday? Because
I'm not backing down. Okay, go ahead. What do you want to say? We texted a little bit about this the other night.
I just remain surprised that it calmed you enough.
You're more mad at Counsell after this week than you were on Monday, because and I think Paul.
Well, I think if the question was, you hate Counsell even more now after the.
I hate him more.
Oh, yes. If you can watch that and not come away like, what a smug asshole.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you. I want to know that you can watch the same thing I watched and come away with a different conclusion about this person. Like the thing I sent back to you in the text was like, person 1 says, for good reasons, I hate you. Person 2 says, LOL, you're so silly. Person 1 should be, you know what? Fuck you more. Like you can't just
but
laugh at my pain.
How do you diffuse situations like this? You kill them with kindness.
It's not working for me.
But I think that's what, like, I've been in situations where I've been so mad at someone and then they just like, oh, and then I'm like, it diffuses you because you want them to match your intensity. And the fact that he is, but I feel like he's doing it in a way to spite us even more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's in like
he turned on the Brewers, which is fine. But at some point it felt like he turned on us.
Well, I mean, if you care about your sports team,
If you're
again,
going to break up with someone, at least write them a letter explaining it might be hard for both of you,
or as the
but
case,
there's no closure there.
Or as you've described in many cases with your college girlfriends, don't then go to my best friend.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Don't
I
do
mean,
that.
like, I don't care if, like, you would probably, I'll put myself, like, I don't care if you, after taking you mini golfing, that you decide this is no longer for you to stay in this. I heard you tell that story, but like, that's fine. But then don't go mini golfing with my roommate. And I think I was, okay, let me ask you this. You were surprised Brewers fans en masse did in fact respond on Monday the way they did. You're like, so with the chorus of boos, which had to prompt, Bill Schroeder to be like, of all the reactions, I never thought that one. What the fuck? Like, how removed are you from reality, Bill? But like, of all the things that could have happened, like, you are surprised that it actually was that loud, angry, unrepentant.
A little bit. I think
A
that
little bit surprised that it actually came. So for me, I thought it would be like, you kind of have your like.
I didn't think people would get up and cheer, but I thought people might like, I'm not voting in this election.
Right. That's kind of what I thought. They voted.
Yeah, well, that's because the people that are the most passionate go to the polls. I don't think that the people that would cheer Craig Counsell thought that they wanted to go to that game.
Good. I'm glad that they couldn't get
us Counsell bully haters, voter suppress the Counsell lovers.
It was exact. I was so. I was proud, like in an honest to goodness but strange way. Like I was like, oh my God, like they, it's like validating that you're not just stuck in your echo with Bart and Grant in our text and with a couple other buddies. Like it's like, oh no, like this is actually how people feel about this. That's great. Like it's like, okay, I'm not, living in this bubble.
And I do need to talk with Brett and Tosa because I love that he is trying to get Craig to jump the fence to fight him.
Dude,
so funny and great.
Yeah,
in every way.
Yeah, Grant, you were getting facial expressions that tell me something, but so you were surprised that it went the way it did on Monday?
And no, not at all.
Good.
It is germane. Am I using that correctly? It is germane. I'm rewatching Breaking Bad, and it is germane. It is pertinent to bring up that boos heavily outweigh cheers. If we put 10 people in a stadium and we have like 7 of them cheer and 3 of them boo, like the boos cut through. I don't know if they ever did that on Sports Science, but the boos, like only a couple boos will cut through. If you're, I'm not kidding. Like this is true.
I don't think they ever did that on Sports Science.
They should have. It's like, what's the ratio? Like
they were more like Donovan McNabb, the way he throws the ball at a 43-degree angle.
Yeah, it would have been a good episode of
Freddie
Sports
Mitchell.
No, I wasn't surprised at all, especially given that boos are louder, and especially like what reason do Cubs fans have to stand up right now and be like, no, we will not allow the boos to cut through to our guy. Like they're underperforming. Right. And I don't know that a lot of them are happy with Craig Counsell. And another thing, they don't have years and years and years of background. He's not one of them like he was one of us. So I think that played a role into maybe how Brewers and Cubs fans, the reaction mixed on Monday. Yeah. I also think to the members of the media, and maybe Rock and BA are a little different because Rock and BA, especially Rock, I don't think they're in it the way that a sports talk radio host is in it. They broadcast the games and they're at the ballpark, but they're not interacting with the Brett and Tosas of the world every day like someone.
Like, but let me just say, anyway. I would argue that that's part of their job. They should be. Like, or you need to be listening to the sports talk radio so you can at least get a flavor. Like it came across to me as naive. That like they were like, speaking of like the bubble that I was wondering if I lived in, that to me tells me that you have no grasp of the actual reality of Brewers fans, and therefore you don't know how to talk to your audience. If you don't know how to if you don't understand your audience, you can't properly communicate to your audience. No?
And no, I agree with that. I think your standard and expectation for for example, Bill Schroeder is much higher than most. And we have previous conversations that I think would illustrate that. Like, I think you think he should be grinding hours of tape every day and like,
Yeah, for sure he should.
like doing straw polls in the street with Brewers fans.
Like if he said to me, what could I improve on? I'd say the answer is don't improve on anything.
See, but that's so stupid. But like, for example, man of the people, Tim Dillard, would have not been surprised. He would have not have been like, wow, of all the reactions, I didn't expect this. Like, Dillard would have known.
BA's popping in and out of here like he's Eric Foreman on the last season of that 70s show. So that's going to be tough.
Yeah. I did appreciate, because I played the BA audio. He was laughing a little bit, like during the Bally Sports. Yeah, it's what they tweeted when BA's like, and here's what it sounded like. And then they played, the 15 seconds, and coming back when BA starts narrating again, he's trying to not laugh because he's like, holy shit, which I appreciate it. I appreciate they showed some emotion there. I think there are sports talk hosts in and around Milwaukee and other sports talkers names show that they're a little, I don't know. I don't like sports talk radio people who are above it, who are like, well, I'm not a fan. Right. Fans are dumb. Fan is short for fanatic. That's something that you have to account for in sports. Like, of course they lit Counsell up on Monday. And if that's like a shock to you, then reconsider some things. I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree, because like, I think, for example, Kurt Hogue should not be a fan. I think you need to know what the fan is thinking, but I'm good with like the beat reporter not being a fan. I think local radio host not being a fan then you can't do your job.
No, but the beat reporter, here's in 2024, the beat reporter can't think so little of the fan.
Correct.
To the point where the fan perspective doesn't matter. Like, Kurt is not going to cheer in the press box and be the world's biggest fan, but he at least has to be able to see and understand the fan perspective to do his job well. And by the way, I don't think that was the case 20 years ago or even 10 years ago.
Beat reporters are fans of short games and free meals.
You are definitely not wrong. But I mean, it's kind of like I was saying with the audience if you're the broadcaster, like if you are so disconnected from the reality of how the fan is feeling, then you can't speak to your audience properly.
I agree with you.
The beat reporter needs to know how
I think being a play-by-play, you're putting on a television product.
Not play-by-play.
I think there's a little. I know what you're saying.
Analyst.
You expect a lot of your analysts. I don't. And
that's so weird to me.
Fine. No. I'm not saying you can have the expectations that you want.
No, I'm saying it's weird that you would, especially in the profession of which you are working to improve from within, that you'd be like, fuck it, just mail it in.
There's a lot. There's a
difference between mailing it in and doing the minimum of good.
Yeah.
No, there's not. You just defined.
Like last night on my show, I did not mail it in, but I did the minimum of good.
Like, Paul, you expect Bill Schroeder to watch 4 hours of film, to do straw polls, like all these things. There's a difference between what you expect and doing nothing. Like, there's a big gap. There's a lot of spectrum there where broadcasters can land.
Do you think, though, you don't think, I mean, you don't think there are analysts across sports who, like prominent ones, who do nothing other than show up to the game and just call it? There's a lot of them.
Less play-by-play guys, but analysts, sure.
That's what I'm saying. And like those who they might kick it to at halftime or in between an inning or in between periods of you can tell the guys who are trying. Like we can debate about JJ Redick and like being like the smartest guy in the room according to him,
soon to be head coach of the Lakers, JJ Redick, according to Chris Haynes.
Mm-hmm. But he's trying, and like I know like trying is not always very cool, but like I love that he's doing some of the stuff he's doing, even though I don't like the way he's doing it or portraying it. I appreciate that there's someone who's like, oh, hey, the status quo, nope, like let's do it this way. I would coach him on how to.
You're the type of fan to ask, when is the last time you learned something from this broadcaster?
Oh my God, that's all I want.
I know. I know.
Like, go just be entertaining. Like, the entertainment is so that you, presumed expert, can tell me, watcher at home guy, something I didn't know before. That's the job description. No?
Well, then the best guy at that, honestly, is Chris Collinsworth.
He's so he's great, right?
I think Collinsworth is excellent. Let the record show I'm a big Collinsworth fan. Aikman, I also love.
I'm sorry, Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah, right. Not Jack. Sure.
Jack, they're so clueless what to use him for. They threw him on the Kentucky Derby.
Did they really?
Yeah, they're like, and now we're going on to Jack Collinsworth with his pick. And he's like, oh, I like Sir Nightingale or whatever the fuck these horses.
I'm down here along the railing, guys. Like they throw to him before.
These horses are a lot bigger than I thought they'd be. Whoa.
When's the guy coming out with the trumpet to play that song? Am I going to get out of the way? He's fine.
It'd be nice if we were up there with a mint julep instead of down here in the mud, but we'll make it do, won't we?
Yeah, I don't need to learn a whole lot from Bill Schroeder. If he,
we're talking specifically about Bill, but like we can talk about like Stan Van Gundy, and we could talk about Reggie Miller. We could talk it doesn't. Analyst, you're supposed to have the expertise that I don't have. Like, tell me about that.
Ooh, Grant's got something.
Go for it.
I just think I thought Breen was. I thought he was above everything. I thought he was completely and totally independent of outside factors. But I tell you, he misses Mark Jackson and Van Gundy.
I was okay. So what game was that? The game. What was the last game they did? Because they did the East Series.
Yeah,
it would have been Game 4.
Game 4. What night was that? Monday.
Game 4 was.
There was like a 3-minute stretch where Breen was the only one that talked. Like he's talking and then he pauses because he knows that's where Jeff or Mark would have come in. And then he picks it up again because he's got nothing. Finally, Doris says some sentence. JJ is probably texting people to be his assistant while this is happening. Breen is like, they did not go from a 3-man to a 3-man. They went from a 3-man to a solo.
I'm glad
and
I'm not the only one.
Doris Burke is like
that.
Whoever this Susan is with the Yankees. Like, I'll go to Susan. What do you think? And then she's like, meh. And then I don't know what the fuck Redick is. He's just like, oh, you never seen a podcast? Who's Sam Malone?
Yeah.
The Sam Malone thing is so weird.
And I think Breen, I think did. And maybe I'm reading into the situation when I want to read into the situation, but Breen, when he hit him with there's a lot to learn, young man, and not just about basketball. I think that was a little bit of Mike Breen being like, this fucking know-it-all over here. He thinks he's too great.
He never thought he was working with him. He was working with Doc. He was excited to work with Doc.
I want him to think that. He probably isn't actually thinking that, but Breen, like, there's a little shakiness here and there where I think he's like, what am I? Because the booth has shifted twice. And I don't know how long were Van Gundy and Mark Jackson? It was a while.
Long time.
It was a long time. Yeah.
Right after Mark got fired?
But wasn't that the group even before Mark Jackson got the job and then he came back? Am I making that up?
Oh, maybe.
It might have been. I don't know.
My point is they have a decade plus, I think, in totality together. But it's kind of like, Bart, you get a different producer right now every night of the week. So like it's hard. It takes a while to build chemistry and like know when to kick to so and so.
Not if you're me.
Right. Your producer tree is just unmatched.
Producer killer.
I am.
I forgot about Adam Roberts today. I saw one of his tweets. I was like, that's right. He used to be on Bart's show. God, that's a little bit of a
he might have had the best jingle of
Scrub-a-Dub.
Oh, his Scrub-a-Dub one.
Yeah, Austin asked me the other day if I had it. I don't know that I do, but I'm looking for it.
Hip to be Scrub-a-Dub. Hip to Scrub-a-Dub.
Hip to Scrub-a-Dub. Scrub-a-Dub, man, they got so much value.
Yeah.
And I just wish that, like, on my long list of vendettas.
Yeah.
I wish that someone would have come to me and been like, Bart, what you've done for Scrub-a-Dub, like at the station, is just remarkable. The way that you took something organically that we could have never thought, here's $100.
Honestly,
and free car washes for life.
Wouldn't you have just taken the validation though?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I thought the same thing, and I'm not saying this to say this, but like Gourmet Nights popcorn. I will see that now, and I will say, it's nerds.
That wasn't even my show.
I know it wasn't. But I'll see it, and my brain just goes to that impromptu. I think it was impromptu. Like that is just song that
like what I've done for Happy Place Hemp. I went and got gout on purpose so that I could get their products to cure it.
For sure. I know you did. I'm surprised you shared that publicly.
I'm always up for it.
Yeah.
Bart's Big Breakfast didn't come out of fucking thin air. Oh wait, it did.
Sponsors.
I don't know what itch I'm trying to scratch, but I am itchy. I am itchy. I got it all over here.
Be the title of your book.
Yeah. I just got all these scores to settle.
All right, let's get to another one before we run out of time. I don't quite know how to, so my notes just say Jason Kidd. So let me try to craft this. Jason Kidd is and always was a good NBA head coach. Or is and always was. So yes, he is. He was not always.
He's learning. He's getting better at it. Now, as we've shared and talked about and read, he has two guys that are really good for him.
He's got two Jason Kidds.
I mean, you've got Kyrie, who like grew up loving Jason Kidd.
Yeah. Which is,
and then Luka can look at Kidd as like, oh, you were here when they won.
Yep.
You know, that's a big, I mean, it's just, and they want to play for him. Coaching's as much about that as anything else. If you put Kidd on different teams, I don't know that it's going to work, but I feel like, I feel like there's more of that goes on in sports that we just don't like talk about. Sometimes we'll say, oh, that guy was a really good coach, or that guy was a really good player, but that guy was a really good coach because he had that player and because that player had him. Like the relationship can go both ways.
Yeah.
But we always just assume, because we always see him in one spot usually. Oh, he's a bad coach because his team sucked. Well, is he, or does he not have the right compliments for him and vice versa?
What was Budenholzer's first year as Bucks coach? 19 or 8?
18-19.
Okay. So Jason Kidd was the Bucks head coach 3 years before they won a title. Right. So Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
Jason Kidd, I mean, famously, like your like house on fire thing, which I completely agreed with. Like this was not like, no, I think we're misreading about Jason Kidd as a head coach. We're misreading.
No flip flop on me there. That was the right.
No. I'm saying. Well, I see what you're saying. But right, like that was not a misreading of the house's burning potential. That shit was on fire, and you had to get out. It's just amazing to watch him now be like competent. And I do think a lot of it is like he is coaching two guys who love Jason Kidd and the best, but Giannis loved Jason Kidd. Giannis reportedly was like, no, what are you doing firing my guy? Giannis is a very loyal guy, regardless of who it is. But
we thought that anyone could come in here, and then they revolted on him after 4 games. So
you're saying
Adrian Griffin.
Yeah. But I mean, I'd still think so. Anyway, my answer would echo yours.
Do you know how incompetent your boss has to be for you to have the strength to go to them and tell them they're bad?
Who are you referring to here?
The Bucks and Adrian Griffin.
Oh, right.
Because me and a radio station once, me and a guy, our boss, and this was a long time ago, our boss was missing everything. I mean, clients were calling us saying, "What is going on?" Like, we had to work up the strength to go to this person and be like, "Are you okay? You are bad at this."
I mean, you are the Angel Hernandez of this.
Yeah. Oh,
Grant, Jason Kidd is a good NBA head coach, and then part B always was a good NBA head coach.
I think I would give the same answer as Bart. But
right.
But we'll never know. I like Bart's point about we often only see a coach in one, maybe 2 spots if it doesn't go well. But with players, especially quarterbacks, for example, we're very quick to say, well, it all depends on the situation, right? What's the organization? What's the roster? But with coaches, we don't really talk about that as much. I wonder what, like, let's say that instead of Jason Kidd coaching the Bucks in that time window, it was Mason Shid. And then he was fired in 17-18. And then instead of bringing in Budenholzer, they brought in Jason Kidd, who had already coached somewhere. right? And I guess at the time he'd already coached somewhere with this. Like, what if he comes in and gets the more mature, progressed version of the roster, the addition of Bledsoe, and that like they're actively looking to upgrade point guard? I wonder. I don't know. I think Jason Kidd, like maybe Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, I think has matured a little bit. The players obviously love playing for him. They're bought in defensively. I think Jason Kidd, I think it speaks volumes. They've made it all the way through the Western. Well, they're one game away to make it through the Western Conference playoffs. He hasn't punched his wife yet. So I think that's, I saw a tweet that said that. I'm sorry. I think he's taken, I think he's gotten a lot better, but I'm not willing to discount the idea that maybe could have happened in Milwaukee if he would have been one coach later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like, the Packers had to fire Mike McCarthy when they fired Mike McCarthy. His production or his ability to have done well or whatever in Dallas is irrelevant of the fact that the Packers house was on fire and you had to get out of that house in 2018 for the Packers too. So Jason Kidd in New Jersey, but with the Nets as the coach, with the Bucks as a coach, was a legitimately bad. I mean, his shit was like, he was a bad coach. But paired with this group, it's the perfect, and he's learned stuff. Like Bart, would you have? I'm so curious how you're gonna answer this. But like Bart, would you have been at the same level of national radio host now as 5 years ago, or did you learn something in the last 5 years that's prepared you for it?
Oh, I mean, duh.
Right. There's two ways you could have gone with that. Yeah. No, but like that's. I don't know. So he's clearly.
Oh, you want me to say no? I've always been this great.
No, I'm actually being serious. Like, but we're better.
No, I've shaken the imposter syndrome I've dealt with my whole life.
No chance.
I think we all, well, not everyone, but like Angel Hernandez, but like most people just get better at things with practice. You know, if they have aptitude for it. Like, and Jason Kidd, to his credit, but also like. Jason Kidd is going to get credit for becoming a better coach, which he has. But are they this good if Nico Harrison doesn't go make those trades at the deadline? Like, no, right? But that's the nuance, Grant, that you were referencing earlier, where sometimes it's like, well, with coaches, you're just like, is he good or is he bad? Like forgetting the fact of like roster construction and whatever else. But okay, I have one more quickie for you, unless you have anything else on Jason Kidd.
I do not.
No, I'm just fighting with a Cubs fan online that wants to try to tell me how to feel, even though these people really bother me. Like, stay out of it.
This is not the Cubs. They love injecting themselves.
This isn't your thing. I know he's your manager and he went to you and you gave him more money, but these are my feelings. Leave me alone.
All right, one quick one, and then you got to run. Bleacher Report had a Bucks trade idea. It's not like an earth mover. Like, it's not like one of the big four. But that this from Bleacher Report is a good. So you would do this as the Bucks. To the Golden State Warriors go Bobby Portis and Andre Jackson Jr. To the Bucks comes Gary Payton II, Moses Moody, the number 52 overall pick in this year's draft, as well as a 2026 second rounder. Portis and Ajax for Moody, Gary Payton II, and 2 second rounders. Or
No.
Why so defiant? Because of Ajax, right?
Well, I mean, Golden State wins that trade wholeheartedly.
Why? Moody is a very good young player who I like a lot.
Moody's going to be like a Damian Lee.
I don't agree with that.
Moody, I'm not in as... If I'm trading with the Warriors, you're giving me Kuminga or nothing.
Then you're giving up more.
Give up more. Bobby's here to stay. Doc likes him. Sorry.
That much is clear.
But sometimes, if I was John Horst, I would take away Doc's toy because he likes Bobby. He outsizes, like, Doc trusts and gives Bobby too much, and that needs to be reeled in. I don't love it. I don't know what I would do. I think you're underselling it a lot.
Unless you're going to take Bronny with one of those picks
at 52. Dude, that whole story, I'm not all the way through your Tuesday night show. That needs to, the fact that he's only working out for the Suns and Lakers is totally fucked for a guy of this talent.
See, the problem is it is a great story with many angles and options, but people are like, because LeBron'd out, but you could take. I mean, there's a lot to the story.
A player of this caliber, a low caliber, selectively. But by the way, what this also means is like, is that LeBron saying, "Sure, I'll go to the Suns next year"? And what would that do?
Not to speculate.
Well, I mean, you'll turn down a workout from every other team that wants to bring you in, except the team that your dad is currently on, and then also.
Well, do other teams want them, or do they just say that?
Do they want who?
Like, I accepted an offer with Infinity Sports after all the other offers that came in.
Of course.
Right.
But there was apparently reportedly where there were 10 teams that were told no, Bronny will not come in. That's nuts.
How that? But there, you gotta. I'm very obsessed with how the sausage is made. Like, did Rich Paul tell someone that?
That would be the process.
So then he could be lying.
So drafting Bronny could curry favor, perhaps, with clutch sports clients in the future. Maybe it's a little bit. You can think bigger than LeBron. Zoom out, right? It's a very powerful sports agency.
All right, see you, Paul.
You guys talk.
But if I was the Hawks, I wouldn't be like, because I've said, oh, they should just draft Bronny and be like, screw it. You want this now? You have to come get it. But then, or any team, Hawks have number one, but any team. But then, if you're pissing off Clutch Sports now, you're going to piss them off for 10 years just because you're trying to make this power move.
I don't know the agents, and I don't like kids coming out of college with their britches this big. Like, it's the same with Shedeur Sanders. It's like, well, there's some teams we're just not going to play for. Like, maybe it's because these people are younger than me. Do you think that's what it is? Do you think that's why it irks me? It is. Okay.
Now I just assume I'm older than anybody, but like LeBron's my age.
Mm-hmm.
Fucked up. But when the younger than you starts is the worst. Like, I think once you hit 30, it's like, all right, it's generally accepted that these guys are younger than me. But you're still like young enough where it's like, you look at these kids and you still, for the longest time in Fondy, when we get together forever, we still looked at ourselves as seniors and this other group of kids were sophomores, even though we were like 25 now and they were 23.
Okay.
We're still like, oh, the fucking sophomores, even though, because we knew them as sophomores, obviously but I think you still are going to feel that.
I also just, like, I don't need Tyrese Halliburton doing the TikTok dances and the whole, I don't know. And I have a lot of old man takes. I don't like the over the top fashion arriving to the games. Let's show up the conference finals. Let's show up in a hoodie and sweatpants. Let's be locked in. Just some old man tendencies and takes like that. But I don't know. If I were you, I would get a lot of run out of the Bronny thing if I hosted the show that you host.
Maybe I'll bring it up tonight because the slate is empty.
Well, what you should do is talk about the idea that the Lakers are going to hire JJ Redick, because I brought that up earlier today, but it's just not. I think it's fascinating. I think it's, to quote Paul, he's not here, but I'll think about him when I say I'm fascinated at the idea of the Lakers hiring JJ Redick. It has nothing to do with any of our Wisconsin teams, but I think it would be a super interesting story.
I had a sports radio thing I wanted to ask you, and then I forgot it.
We probably could have done the Dell's Bar thing now.
I thought of that while we were doing it, but I thought, no, Paul needs to hear this. Paul needs to understand that we have this place that is so like mythical. It's our Narnia.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I don't know the sports radio thing you were going to ask me.
Let me try to think of it real quick. If not, I'll say goodbye.
Tim can edit this out. It's fine.
No, I don't care to do that anymore. It was about, I don't know. Other promotion for me, I just did an episode with Matthew Collar on Purple Insider. If you want to check that out on his YouTube or download the podcast, Infinity Sportsnet. You can hear Grant on the Wisconsin Zone. You got mad at me because I always screw up your thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes, at the end, he's like, and find Bart on Infinity Sports Map or whatever it's called.
Who said that?
Matthew Collar.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's kind of offensive. He goes, I don't know.
He's a radio guy too. That's part of why I love Matt, is anytime I ask him to do hits, be like, hey, sorry, the fucking, isn't working today or we had to move this. He's like, I get it. Because he worked in radio. He gets it.
He's like, I'll be a filler guest anywhere. He's like, I went on one station the other day because I forget what team it was, but he's like, they were making the comparison that their team now is akin to the 2017 Vikings. So they called me to talk about the 2017 Vikings.
That's funny.
And he's like, sure.
I love the guests who just assume they're filler. Like, hey, would love to have you on tomorrow. Like, are you free at this time? Yeah, anytime you need filler, yeah, let me know. Like Scott Grodzki. Like that dude, which, by the way, Scott's been on a heater on Twitter. I was not familiar with Scott's game. And now I see some of his tweets. I'm like, God damn. But every time I ask Scott, he's like, yeah, whenever you need time, go ahead and ask. It's like, no, I do enjoy having you on, Scott. Yeah. You don't need to. But yes, time does need to be filled. So I get it. I do.
Well, I was thinking about filling time tonight with a guest, but I can't think of one.
Are guests hard to find? 9 to 1 Central Time?
I don't know. I don't really book them. I make these kids do it.
You're a producer. Producers, you have a team.
I know. If you have 9 producers a month, you have 0.
I suppose.
But they've all been doing a great job.
That's true. Yes, they have. It's been a joy to listen.
All right, Grant. Maybe I'll think about my question another time.
Circle back. We can waste 5 minutes of Paul's time at the beginning of the episode next week with whatever it is that you're trying to remember.
Just give me 20 seconds. It was about.
Go ahead.
It wasn't about interviews. It was about topics. Oh, sometimes when I get into a topic that I know I've done before, I feel like a comedian doing his set again, worried that an audience that's already seen these jokes are going to be listening.
Interesting.
So lately I've been doing like a lot of, and one thing I've talked about, or you may have heard this before.
If you've been listening for a while, I'm sure I've said this.
Just as like, and I don't want it to hinder like, oh, Bart's going to repeat him. I just want it to be like, I get it. If you've heard it, I get it. But I'm bringing it up again. I've only got so many fucking tricks.
What caused you to think about this?
Basically, whenever I like don't know what to say, I just kind of think of a bit in my head that I know. Like, oh, it's 11 o'clock. I got nothing. I'll fucking do Hot Pockets.
Okay. Always more call center stories. Always. That's what I'm looking forward to. Always.
All right, bud. Well, appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Nice to see you and Paul. Good luck talking about LeBron James Jr. or whatever it is. I look forward to listening. Thank you.
Bye, Grant.
Bye.
Grant Bilse. Paul Imig. Thanks for stopping into the Winklerverse.